Door down, came in with scissors and all kinds of instruments and just demolished the whole apartment.
Suddenly, some bricks and rocks were being We don't know what's happening right now, but for now we will hide in the attic of our building. In that attic were a lot of apples that we had stored because it was the fall and we had stored apples for the winter. And so the rabbi had 4 children and we had 3 children. So the 7 of us used to play with the apples and amuse ourselves up in that attic. We played ball with them. We made games out of them. We pretended they were abacuses. We pretended that they were all kinds of different toys, and then we ate them also.
We went home. We did not make light in the apartment, and we went to bed immediately. And in the middle of the night, they came pounding on the front door. I remember that. And the fear that this instills in a child is a feeling of fear that never in your life can you forget. That feeling of fear is always there. And evidently, now, we never came to know this for sure. A next-door neighbor opened her door finally and said, "Why are you making so much noise? People are sleeping." And they said, "Well, we want these Jews," and so on. She said, "They're not home." So they left. Now, did she know we were home and she really didn't want us to be arrested and taken away? Or did she really think we weren't home and so on? We never found that out. But certainly her remark saved us from that.
So that's what we did. We went up to the attic, and there we met the family of the rabbi who was already up there. Now, the rabbi wasn't there, and we wanted to know what had happened to him. And so I looked through this little window of the attic, and I saw the rabbi standing on his veranda, and there were 2, I guess they were SS men. They were holding him by the arm, and another one came along with some kind of a scissor or implement, I don't remember. He held it and cut off his beard. And then later on I found out that he was hauled off to jail.
My father was screaming. He got hysterically frightened, and my uncle was screaming. My uncle wanted to close the shutters. He always did that. And that was part of withdrawing into your home and leaving the outside world outside. And my grandmother said to him, "Stop that. It's too late. That's not going to protect us." And she said, "We're running away." We went to Cologne, and my mother had 3 uncles and an aunt that lived in an apartment there. And I think it was a 2-bedroom apartment. About 6, 7 people rained in on them that night. And they put us up. We slept wherever we could. And we stayed there for 9 months. And the bell rang downstairs. And somebody said, "Gestapo." And all the men got up and disappeared. Totally disappeared. And one of the women went to answer the door, and it wasn't the Gestapo.
We don't know what's happening right now, but for now we will hide in the attic
Someone knocked on the door and told my father that he and his brother and my grandfather should not go to the synagogue that day because something terrible was coming down.
And then while walking to school, I saw the Jewish the windows of jewel stores broken, and I saw already in the distance the smoke. First I didn't know what it meant, but then I realized they are burning the synagogue.
We saw our synagogue on fire, the smoke coming out. And then we turned on the radio, and we heard the news that most of the synagogues were on fire. And we shouldn't go out of the house. Jews should stay in the house, don't go outside.
Walked by our synagogue, and all I remember is hordes of people standing in front of it was called the Bornplatz synagogue, or the big synagogue of Hamburg. And it had not been set on fire, and it wasn't set on fire, but they were standing in front of it and throwing stones through the beautiful stained glass windows. I think that they had gone into the synagogue and ransacked it on the inside. They threw the Torah scrolls into the streets. When we talk about the Torah scrolls, this is the basis of our belief. This is the basis of our lives. I mean, we are so careful about a Torah scroll that when the individual who reads from the Torah on Shabbat morning doesn't go anywhere near touching it, you have a so-called hand that points to the letters where you read. And the fact that this was thrown into the streets, it was torn up, it was desecrated by hordes of people who had absolutely lost all respect of any dignity of any other people's religion. And I think it works itself right into the fact that you hate for the sake of hating, but you really don't know why you're hating. The display the merchandise had been thrown into the streets. Ink had been poured over precious fur coats and evening gowns. I mean, that's how he described this scene.
There were stores along the street. Some of them were owned by Jews. They were smashed in. There was yelling and screaming on the street. Stores where they were smashed, then looted.
The Jewish the windows of jewel stores broken, and I saw already at the distance the smoke. First I didn't know what it meant, but then I realized they are burning the synagogue.